Je m'appelle Victor Hoffer and I'm gonna answer the WFP question.
I think recently my life has had a lot of change. It's kind of flipped upside down. We went from living on the West Coast. Within the last 5 years, it was just my wife and I living there. She was in residency, I was working. We had just moved, just finished school. And then within this 5-year span, she finished residency, is working full time. We've had 2 kids, we've moved across the country, we got a dog, we built a house. The last year, moving east, we lived with my in-laws for 6 months while we finished building the house so we could be close. Living there kind of without your own space and your own stuff and trying to train for the games at the same time and live your life was intense. So that was probably the most intense period, but the last 5 years, there's been a lot of change. I think the last year for sure has brought the biggest, but probably just trying to find your footing and juggle everything and not, not get at each other's throats sometimes and not let the stress overwhelm you and just sort of take it wave after wave and keep yourself steady. But now we're through it. We're in the new house and things are great.
My biggest challenge in the past 5 years would be, I'm actually from the Isle of Man. It's a small country, it's a small crown dependency in between the UK and Ireland. Anyway, I moved away from there to UK. It's not that far, but it's still moving. And I was very close to my sister. So yeah, moving away from her was probably the hardest thing I've had to deal with. So yeah, I haven't seen her since June. So that's 9 months I haven't seen her. That's a pretty long time.
My biggest challenge I've passed in 5 last years in sport, I think it was probably last year. I qualified for the CrossFit Games. I have to withdraw because of injury. And the road to be back to healthy training is really long, and I think it was the most biggest challenge I've done.
I would probably say to my younger self to be kind to myself and be proud of all of the accomplishments I have, whether they're big or small, and take all of the small things as wins as well, because that's certainly, when you build up a lot of small wins, that can help you keep motivated and just stay feeling good about yourself overall as well. But yeah, I think the biggest one there would be just overall being kind to myself, and yeah.
It's tough, when things have turned out okay, it's hard to question yourself too much or give yourself too much advice. I think be patient, I guess. Be more patient as you think you may be being. Be more patient. And patient with others. I think be patient with others and be strict with yourself. And that's probably the best way to live.
Believe in yourself. Love yourself, because no one is going to love yourself as much as you can. And stop comparing yourself to others, because that isn't helpful. Why isn't it helpful? Just not. Why isn't it helpful? Yeah, I'm sure we've all done it. Compared ourselves to this, that and the other person, but yeah, we can't have their life. And we probably don't want to, if you think about it. So yeah, may as well make our own the best we can make it.
Kind of 2 things, I think. One is like, that's kind of the definition of discipline, is that the difference between motivation and discipline is that everybody can be motivated. Sometimes discipline is doing it when you're not motivated. But when things are hard, or there's periods of the year for everybody that get really stressful and heavy and you need an extra boost. I have an awesome family unit, and I think I get it from that. Being able to kind of come in and sit down and feel that unconditional love is special. And where, we just moved and I'm building up my social network again from the ground up. But that's always something that's nice. You can't replace that kind of love, and I'm very fortunate to have it. Also, they don't care a lot about my success in sport necessarily, so it's nice to have love for other reasons than that.
Inspiration on my hardest, darkest days. I find podcasts and motivational quotes helpful. Podcasts like Modern Wisdom podcasts. Just some of the words, some of the words. I don't know, I feel like everyone can, I can relate to them. And it feels like you're not like alone in whatever you're thinking, you're not alone basically. I feel like everyone, what he talks about, everyone goes through. And because he gets like a specialist person on, they, trained in that, so.
I do a lot of sport and my parents push me to do a lot of gymnastic, and it really never pay off because I don't get the result I wanted. And sometimes when it's hard, in the bad day, I'm just like, okay, I'm here since I'm really young, I don't want to give up now. I think it's like 15 years high level training. No, I don't want to give up now.
What would I crush people at? Man, I'm not good enough at any one thing. I'm just like pretty good at lots of things. I think if there was like a skating event, I'd probably crush the men in the field, like on ice skating. Or I'm a pretty good pool player. I might have to brush it up, dust it off a little bit, but there was a time where I was an exceptional pool player, so I could probably get that back.
If I was to program an event that wasn't CrossFit, what would it be? An eating challenge, specifically cereal. Or pancakes, or something like that.
Yeah, I think since day one, I mean, if I think about the beginning, it was my gymnastic career, and my mother is pretty the one who pushed me go through all the bad day, good day, and push me to continue what I'm doing. So I would say thank you to my mom.
Yeah, I mean, I would say my family, like my parents, have been pretty awesome. And I tell this a lot to people, but my parents come to like every competition. I think since I started competing in since I went to the games in 2015 even probably, when my year on team, I think my parents have been to every competition. I could count on one hand the competitions that they have not been to. And it's like going to like Dubai or Switzerland or Australia. Like they haven't been to those, but they were in Scotland for Rogue this year. Like now they're kind of retired and they hang out. They actually love hanging out with Justin Medeiros' family because they also come to most events. And so they've got a fun little gang there and they come hang out. And it's been a very cool way to keep my family close because I don't live close to them anymore. So they come 3, 4, 5 times a year. We spend some time, they see the kids. It helps us kind of stay close, which is very cool. You know, I'm 35 this year. And my parents still come watch me play my games. they don't miss one, which is just cool. How many people can say that? So that's very cool. They've been very supportive. And you know, my wife as well. I think that it obviously takes a lot of work to do what we do and what I've been able to do for a long time. And I think it's kind of cool. She's very supportive and it's the very like, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you get to do this. But she also lives in a different world. And I think that that's such a relief for me sometimes to be able to step outside of the fitness space and just like not think about it, exist in a different world. And I don't know, it just helps you kind of like be a different person sometimes. It helps alleviate the stress of it, step outside of it, realize that it doesn't matter that much. It only matters because you care that much. So that's been kind of cool. And don't get me wrong, she cares a lot. Like she's very supportive, but I think it's great that we have kind of like multiple facets to our life and she's a very big anchoring force in that way, which is awesome.
A lesson I learned in the last year that I'd say caught me off guard was probably the power of like mental strength in a sport. I very much struggled last year on the mental side of things and just, you know, being hard on myself and keeping motivated. And yeah, honestly, I would have never thought that the hardest part of a sport would be the mental side of it, but that is something that I've learned in the last year. And yeah, it's a tough thing to manage.
A lesson I've learned in the past year. If you can't do anything about something, then why worry? Life is too short, so live it while you can.
I think something, this maybe ties into like my New Year's resolution a little bit, but I think that just how different the world is online and in person. I think that in the last year or so, I've been really making a more conscious effort to realize the difference and pay more attention to the real world and live more in the real world, because it's just very different. It's the same reason why, you don't see a lot of, 5-star reviews necessarily on things. Like when things are going well and people are happy, they don't always go out of their way to make a comment about it. But they sure do when they're upset. So online, that's just the nature of it. It's a little bit more saturated in negative experience, and you can get tricked into thinking that that's reality or that's what's actually happening. And I just don't think that's the case. And I think that that's something I've been thinking more about lately, and just realizing that, people are a lot happier, I think, in real life than they are online. So I choose to live there more often.